Welcome to the Cult Film Showdown's brand new series, Octagon Inappropriate. I am your host, James Cotta, and I am joined by other host, Nick Boxer.
I always forget the introduction part and try to come up with something on the fly. I'm not always successful.
Maybe you need like a crib sheet or get your writers on this.
Yes.
Give them some, get
Well,
some,
I got a team of them, but they're monkeys, so.
So they're still working on Hamlet, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Also, Jack Hall is here.
Those monkeys definitely wrote this movie.
All right, so Octagon Inappropriate is our new series. Thank you if you joined us for the Hitchhiker series we did, and the Masters of Horror series we did, and the controversial cartoons. Those were all fun series that we did of various lengths, and they're all on YouTube, and then they're all on your favorite podcast app, and they are all on wetalkpodcast.com. This series will be 6 episodes, and we have decided to look at movies that might have fit in the Octagon, which is our search for the ultimate B movie, but weren't quite a fit. Probably wouldn't score high in the search for a B movie, but also do not show up on lists of best movies of the year either in most cases. And Nick, you chose this first one. Tell us what we're talking about today.
We're talking about Catwoman, the Halle Berry starring movie, supposedly based off the DC Comics character, that is publicly panned as one of the worst movies of all time. Yet I know very few. I know one fan of this movie. But it is never held up on the, so bad it's good lists. Should I do a story breakdown or?
Yeah, go right into it.
Well, Prudence, changing the name from the comic books, is an artist.
Patience, not Prudence.
Working as an ad exec or an ad person at a makeup company, and it so happens that Sharon Stone and her husband seem to have some sort of plot to market makeup to take over the world, addictive makeup, killer addictive makeup. Well, Halle Berry, seemingly through an accident of her death by the hands of these two unscrupulous business moguls, gains cat powers. And she then tries to stop them, and she is successful. And there's and she falls in love at the same time. It's that old trope.
Girl meets cat.
As good a job as that's about a good job explaining it as we usually get. I mean, I'd say that is about 20% accurate.
Girl meets cat. Girl meets boy. Girl gets killed by her makeup mogul boss. Cat meets girl.
Yeah.
Jack, why don't you go into well, do you have any context for this? Anything you want to add for context before you start going into what you think?
Well, I mean, no. I mean, this movie had no context in it, so how can you have any context when talking about it? Okay, I'll say this. I never I thought I had seen this film because it had been so discussed and I'd seen so many clips, and I start watching and I realized I've never seen this. So this was my first time actually watching it from beginning to end. And I think that's largely because I was disappointed that the movie was so bad at the time, or the reviews were so bad, just because the director had done a film, Vidocq, Pitoff is the name of the director. The film Vidocq is this remarkable, visually stunning film, and he was a special effects guy mainly, working in France, and did this movie with Gerard Depardieu. It's also known as Dark Portals in some territories. This movie's just visually maybe the greatest thing I've ever seen. The narrative is not perfect, but just and it's not available on Blu-ray or anything like that. And I'm hoping I still have the DVD somewhere. I feel like digging it up now. And it is a Blu-ray. There is a 3D version, but no English subtitles. So that sucks. So I was really looking forward to this film, and then it comes out, and everybody's really down on it. And yeah, I mean, let's address the elephant in the room. You have a character that is beloved, has a massive following, and is well known to the public. And you make the movie with that character, but change that character. What the hell were they thinking? This is, I think, the biggest problem most people have with the film to start with is you've automatically alienated all the fans of the character, and I just want to know, like, that to me, that's the elephant in the room. Like, what do you guys think? Why did they do this?
Well, I was sort of under the impression that maybe it was the marketing team in retrospect that added that element to their promotion of it. Because I looked, DC Comics is not listed in the credits before the film or after the film.
Interesting.
They weren't actually at that point. They didn't use. They weren't. It was just Warner Brothers until Batman Begins was the first one that actually listed DC as a producing company. It was always just Warner Brothers. The Superman movies are just Warner Brothers.
So yeah, I thought it was very strange. I could find no credits of like Catwoman created by or anything like that. So this could have been like a superhero movie that didn't have that in its DNA. Although it is so remarkably close to like some of the you can
She's a
see
jewel thief, for instance. She's a jewel thief in
strip of the Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman. I don't know. There's so many questions I have towards this movie. It is quite literally as somebody drove past a screening of the 1966 Batman at like 55 miles an hour and then asked to make a Catwoman movie out of it.
Well, I mean, I think I will say that all of the things you're saying, I thought at the time. The choice to make her not. I've suddenly blanked on Catwoman's real name.
Selina Kyle.
Selina Kyle. The reason, the decision to not make her Selina Kyle, like, to me, that should have been. It was the right decision, and without making any sense to people, because if you had done any version of this movie and called her Selina Kyle, it would have been, Mark Waid standing up in the back theater yelling, "That's not my Catwoman," because it's not. It's clearly another character. It's an entirely different character, and there have been other characters of Halle. This is pre-Marvel Universe. This is even pre Christopher Nolan Batman. The comic basis of superhero movies was much thinner at the time than what we see now.
Yes and no. I mean, you're not wrong, but at this point, it's 2004. We had seen the X-Men movies, we had seen the Spider-Man movies, we had seen that the movies that were successful and had done good box office and had done well at the critics had stayed close to the true character already. We'd already seen that evidence. Even Blade at this point. Like, we had seen that evidence that using the template of what works in the comic books works in the theater?
Uh, I I would say yes, but I think the we is a bit broader. That is a bit narrower than you think it is, or that you're saying, because it's not like everything. It's not like things before this were like that, and it's not like things for a while after were like what you're saying. Um, so this was DC's first movie since Steel in 1997 that is an entirely different character, like almost an entirely
Oh man,
different
we should do
character
that film.
from the comic. Yeah, we
We
should.
should
That'd be
do that.
great. We did talk at
Although
one.
I think that one should be in the Octagon.
Yeah, that one I think would score. Uh, and we did talk at one point about doing a set of comic book based ones. So like again for context, 1997, Batman and Robin and Steel. And then we have a 7-year gap to Catwoman. The following year we have Constantine, which is loosely based. And then we have Batman Begins, which changes everything. Uh, so really like Batman Begins is the marker. Constantine was like it's pretty close.
For
But
Marvel, but like, or for DC, but we had seen with Marvel and even with Independence already, you had seen with properties from Dark Horse that the closer they stuck to the property, the more people liked them.
again, I'll agree, except 2003 is Daredevil. 2004 is The Punisher, which actually I love.
Yeah,
2005 is Elektra and Fantastic Four. So clearly there were still issues. Ghost
there were
Riders
still
2000,
issues.
yeah, Ghost Riders 2007. So and Rise of the Silver Surfers 2007. So I think that yes, they should have understood that, but I don't think it was really as locked in as like we would have hoped from, because you're right, Blade and Spider-Man and X-Men should have been like, let's do them this way. But then you have 2003 is also the Ang Lee Hulk,
Oh yeah.
which is my least favorite comic movie ever made.
Now, admittedly, this doesn't have any connective tissues to any other Batman stuff other
That's
than the
right.
name, really. Wow. It's just so weird that they developed something off a property and then not even like I was expecting at least a Gotham shout out.
Yeah, like it's
Something in there to reference there was another Catwoman or somebody just saying, they had some trouble in Gotham one time. Just to throw a line to appease some fans. Yet it's not there. There's nothing to there's no authenticity to the source material at all. Like they just sort of went, we're doing our own thing and we're gonna suck at it.
yeah, I absolutely agree. Except for like I don't think it sucks. I think it sucks in the context of like you wanted a Selena Kyle Bat or Catwoman movie. Uh, they did develop Catwoman as an independent property for quite a long time after Batman Returns. So Batman Returns was 92. There is a script you can find floating around the internet of um, what also would have been a strange way to go, which was a Catwoman movie that was spun off from the Tim Burton movies and then gave her a new origin. Uh, like it was also strange. Like that may be the missing link of like they were already drifted, like they already weren't using the character as it was in Batman Returns, and then you've got like, is it the same Catwoman then? Uh, and I wish I'd remembered the phrase. It was a friend of mine had told me that. I watched it again and enjoyed it. Um, so one was like watch it as camp, and also watch it as like it's a Catwoman, and that line's in the movie. She's not Catwoman. She's a Catwoman. That's what
I
she's called.
will agree with you. It just there's stuff in this movie that I absolutely adore. Both Halle Berry and Sharon Stone have the camp acting style,
Mm,
shooting the scenery down.
mm.
It just fits with none of the other performances in the movie.
That's fair. Yeah.
The love
I
interest is totally unaware of what they're doing in this movie.
there's no question of that. Benjamin Bratt does not exactly fit in style wise with what Halle Berry is doing. I guess one of you said it thinks it sucks. The other one said you don't. I guess I'm the tiebreaker here, and I got to say, it's certainly not as bad as I expected. I don't necessarily look at it with the camp movie lens and see it as great, but I think part of the thing is having seen it, not having thought I saw it, like I say, not having seen it, and now, I mean, you talked about the movies that had come out and how few had come out when this had come out, and how it kind of explodes around the time of this, and you're starting to see multiple properties showing up. And at this point now, I've seen so many superhero movies, and it's like diminishing returns. You know, unfortunately, a lot of the Marvel movies lately haven't been nearly as strong as they were at the beginning, and that type of thing. So this, in comparison to all that, doesn't seem as bad as I thought it did. To me, it was just a movie. The biggest problem with the movie is the script. There is plot hole after plot hole, and convenience after convenience, and character um, development that makes no sense after character development. To me, that's the issue with the film. I mean, I think Sharon Stone's an awful actress, and I think she sucks in this movie, and I think she sucks in every movie she's ever done. But I think Halle Berry completely owns the character, and just completely was into it and did her best. And I mean, I'm like, I I don't think it was as bad as I expected. It's just a film, and visually, it certainly looks good.
See, that's sort of my problem with it. Is it was an exercise watching this in frustration. I mean, you have these beautiful, beautiful miniature shots in there. You've stylish direction, which immediately transition into probably the worst CG I've ever seen, even for that era.
There was some bad
And then we
CGI.
go into camp acting mode, and then we got the love interest coming in there. Um, no clue what's going on. There's no story follow through. Like I have no idea what the plan really was to take over. Like, were they trying to take over the world? Um, it kills you and gives you this makeup gives you superpowers and
Yeah.
may kill you. It's addictive. And what was the thing with the flushing her down the sewers? It's just
You're not
so
wrong on any of
incredibly
these things.
uneven that it is hard to watch, which is what I didn't like about it. I absolutely love this movie 30 seconds at a time. But watching it in an hour and a half interval is like masturbating with a cheese grater.
It, that it's also good for about 30 seconds at a time. Um, yeah, I think. Well, and to Jack's point, I think that, like, I mean, expectation is so much of this kind of thing, uh, because everyone who saw this when it came out, most of them not in the theater, uh, so, like, their context for Catwoman was like the Batman 66 was closing on 40 years old. So maybe you saw it as a kid. And then 12 years before is Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman. And that's going to be what's solidified in the pop culture. Um, so if you're expecting that character, like, it's not going to happen. But I don't think that this character is that out of context with, like, I think Nick said that, uh, like, reference the Batman 1960s series, and that's what the story felt like to me. Uh, Between the time I watched this like 3 or 4 years ago, and then I watched the Batman 1960s TV series within the last couple of years. Watching this, I'm like, this is the kind of story they would do. Uh, and this is like it's not as campy as Batman was, but it's
What
I'd say
is?
it's as, I would say it's as campy as a Roger Moore James Bond was, though. Like that's actually what it reminded me
See,
of.
that could have saved it if they played the camp all the way through.
Yeah,
But
I think that it's not enough of one thing. Is yeah, that is the big challenge with it, is that it's not enough of one thing.
Oh, like I say, I mean, there were some things that I enjoyed about the film. I just think it was a very average film. I wouldn't give it terrible or great, just right in the middle of superhero movies. I do have to say, you complain about the CGI, and there was some bad CG, but there was one special effect that was just remarkable, and that was Halle Berry's halter top. Uh, that special effect, her halter top, her in that, pretty much makes the movie worth it.
yeah, that I sort of you're going for camp here, and I think with the halter top and stuff, if they had made this more of a sexploitation movie, I mean, I did contemplate stopping and watching scenes from Swordfish halfway through this movie.
Herb Wire was really what
If
I
they
was
did
thinking.
more of that kind of vibe, I think it could have worked a little bit better. Just it didn't
Well,
know what it was going to be, and I don't think anyone ever knew it was going to be.
there's that. I mean, like I said, I think the big problem is the script. I mean, the whole it's the best special effect though, that halter top since actually I'm not sure if it came out first. It probably did. Tomb Raider with Angelina Jolie in that her bra and tank top. That was a great special effect too. Um, let's talk about. We're not doing an Octagon scoring or anything, but let's talk WTF moments because there's a lot of them in here. What are some of your favorite WTF moments, guys?
Uh,
Um,
in when she goes on her first outing and she interrupts a jewel heist, and there's a lot like that scene actually is just hilarious to
Whole
me start
scene,
to finish.
yeah, the
Uh,
whole scene.
but there's a bit where she throws a guy down on the floor and then she surfs him to the other side of the room. He's sliding on the floor. She's standing on him like he's a surfboard. Killed me. I had to rewind and watch that bit again.
I was thinking after seeing that scene, I was thinking to myself, you know what I want to do? I think what I'm going to do is rob a jewelry store because apparently there's no security guards or cameras, and you can take your time. You can take all the time in the world because clearly nobody is around. No police show up, and this thing lasts for a long time.
The lights are all on. They fire off shotguns at the beginning of the fight, and nothing. The cops
All
don't show
these
up until like 5 minutes. Like the whole fight happens, and then you hear sirens.
Yep, the shots are going off. That's not letting anybody know. Yep, no. There's just if you're gonna have millions and millions of dollars in jewelry, what you don't want is to bog it down with security at all. Any form of security.
Really, people
To me,
assume it's
that whole
there.
scene is one of
Yeah.
the best WTF moments in the movie for sure.
for me,
Nick?
there are several. There's so many, in fact. But the one I found absolutely fascinating was the handwriting analysis expert who determined that all the letters were seemingly written by the same person, but the psychology of the two notes didn't make sense. The spacing of the letters was off.
Oh my god, that scene was amazing.
So one of them was meek and one of them was angry. So it
So
couldn't be the
It's
same person.
one word, and it's enough to counterbalance all the evidence the cop has that Halle Berry or Prudence is the
Patience.
same is the same
Patience.
person as Catwoman. I mean, he's seen her jump around on a basketball court like a cat for 10 minutes.
Sure, she's the same height, has the same skin tone.
Where it has a great camera shot of her shaking her ass while he's looking at it, like salivating while she's shaking her ass in front of him, bouncing the basketball. Another great WTF moment. That handwriting thing. This is the worst cop ever. Like, I think we have a new worst cop ever, because it is like so obvious. Even the very end of the movie is, he goes, the Sharon Stone's character dies, and he's like, well, I guess with her dead, there's no evidence that Catwoman really did anything. I'm like, yes, there is. There's
you haven't
so
cleared her name in any way.
Rob people and it's unbelievable.
How about her cat power or cat-like behaviors?
Oh yeah.
I mean, her getting cat powers and waking up in the rafters and then falling out.
It's, to me, the WTF moment that you're taking Halle Berry and supposed to make her this mousy. So instead of being a 20 out of 10, she's a 19 out of 10 after they've uglied her up. Like, that hardly works.
That reminds me of, there's a gag, I can't remember what it was in, but they're talking about casting, and they said they wanted someone ugly, so they bring in an actress that's not attractive. And he said, I didn't mean ugly, I meant like TV ugly, like Marianne from Gilligan's Island. And that's exactly what I thought as she went through in their frumpy clothes and her glasses, and like the total librarian look, like shapeless clothes, hair tied back, glasses.
So she's only twice perfect instead of 3 times perfect. Like, she's only still perfect. Like, she's
but that's a Hollywood problem. We have more problems with this movie than that. Was anyone else out on the ledge to save the cat, considering where the cat was, thought, yeah, this girl just deserves to die? Like, my God, that was the stupidest thing I've ever seen a character do. There is absolutely no way you could be successful saving a cat in that position by getting out that window.
Look, I own a cat. I'm pretty sure the way to save that cat isn't to climb out after it, it's to offer it some tuna.
Yeah. Shake a bag of treats, that cat be right inside.
And then followed by the cop seeing her and then believing her that she wasn't committing suicide. I mean, that situation alone, even if he saw the cat, which he didn't,
he did.
Would have warranted a 24-hour psychiatric hold.
He did afterward. The cat was in her apartment afterward.
Okay.
I don't dispute your point, though. The fact that a cat existed does not negate everything that happened up to that point.
So let's get into a little bit more into the beauty product aspect and the WTF of this. So I got
one more behavior issue, and then we can
go ahead.
The milk, the cream that she orders in the bar. She orders a drink. What was it? A Black Russian,
it's a white Russian. White Russian.
The coffee liqueur.
Yeah, White Russian without vodka and without Kahlua.
Yes. I know in cartoons that cats drinking cream is a trope, but aren't cats allergic to cream?
Sort of.
In real life?
Most cats become lactose intolerant. And that's actually what I thought when I saw it, when she took that, like, down that whole thing of cream. One, like, that's a phlegm sandwich right there. I can't believe you could drink a whole thing of heavy cream. But most cats become lactose intolerant after they're weaned off of mother's milk. Not
so
all,
we're
but most
talking
humans,
would have screws and tight leather.
Yeah, so I was like, I'm like, so did you become? I hope you didn't become lactose intolerant and you became a Catwoman, because you're gonna have problems in about an hour or two. You're gonna need to make some stops.
Good luck getting that suit off quickly. I love the fact that her costume was given to her by her best friend, played by Alex Bornstein. Of course, she's best known for playing Lois on Family Guy and being on Mad TV. I love that. Yeah, her outfit is something she gave her so she can have something hot to wear on a date.
Well, I think
Like that.
the outfit changes from what it was when they gave it to her, though, because it also
This is true.
changes after because she gets it wrecked at
She
the
gets the
jewelry
halter
store
top.
too. Yeah, it goes down to just the halter top.
Yeah.
I mean, you mentioned the outfit, and they're like, you cannot say enough about this outfit. That is the strange legacy of this movie is most people, as Jack said, you probably haven't seen it. You've heard it's awful. Even my wife Lacey, she said you had to watch Catwoman, right? I'm like, I watched Catwoman. Uh, yeah, so that's too bad. I'm like, I enjoy the movie, and she said, now that I think about it, I don't know if I've ever seen it. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
that is most people's experience of this movie, but the costume has stayed one of the most iconic cosplay outfits for all
Oh
this
yeah.
time, and now so out of context of the movie itself, because it's the sexiest Catwoman outfit.
Yeah.
Is there
And they
not a
really
sexy Catwoman outfit?
They're all pretty. I mean, it's
they're
not
all
like any of
sexy.
them are unsexy. There's no unflattering Catwoman. I mean, it's you need some guts to wear it as a woman. But there's no there's no frumpy Catwoman.
See,
No.
I know it probably for me it might not make the top 10, but that's a tough list.
Of sexiest superhero
No,
outfits,
just
or
Catwoman.
what's the list?
Sex, just Catwoman costumes. If you're going to rate them in
If you're
number,
including ones from the comic book, or are you just including real life, what we've seen in
anything with
movies
cat
and
ears.
TV? Pardon me?
Costumes with cat ears.
Costumes with cat ears in general.
Well, I mean, okay,
In general, those work.
it does not compete with Josie and the Pussycats. I'll give you that. But as far as Catwoman goes,
There's a movie I'm surprised you didn't pick for this.
oh, I should have. Well, I mean, Nick and I both love that movie, so I think it's already
I think
it's starting
yeah,
on
and
second.
there's another one I've never seen. I think we need to do a season 2 already. This is working. Uh, so let's get into just this beauty product. And Nick had
Yeah,
mentioned it, and it's so true. I don't understand. You have the male lead care or villain who is discarding who's like this egomaniacal, womanizing CEO of this company that is discarding his wife, who's been the face of the product, as being the model of the product, played by Sharon Stone, discarding her for a younger person. So they're not together and they're not working together in any way, but they're both bad guys at the top. And then you have this beauty product that, as mentioned, if you use and you stop using it, I think that's when your skin turns to like it makes you ugly, scars you permanently or something. But
If you go
I
into
mean, Alex
withdrawal,
Borstein's
I
character
think is the
is using it and then stops using it, and uh, nobody can. And she's sick, but it makes Sharon Stone superpowered. Like it to her, it didn't ruin her or kill. In other words, just if you're having a problem with it, just keep taking it because you're gonna be superpowered and be invulnerable. And this is one of the most like trying to wrap my head around this whole thing makes it hurt so much.
uh, well, I mean, it's not about power. It's not about world domination. It's just about money. Like it's purely money. They're making an addictive product. Um, and because they don't know until right near, like we see the scene where he says, we've now seen the results of long-term trials. We can't release this. I already knew it was addictive, but now it's something that if that's it doesn't say how many people, if it's all people or some people, but long term. So they're talking about not just the amount because Alex Bornstein's only had one jar. She had someone sneak her a jar. Um, So, and she's getting headaches because she hasn't been using it. But they don't know until that scene we watch, which is like 2 or 3 days before it's going to be released, that there is this other side effect of disfiguring people once they've stopped using it, if they've used it
That
over a
doesn't
long term.
fix the problem we're
No,
talking about here. It
but
still makes no sense.
no, it does. It does. Because it's just money. Like there's no grand plan. It's money. You've created a product, you've created a brand new drug. This drug's going to make you youthful, going to make you like your skin shine, going to make you look like you're half your age. Assuming you're not like 20. Like it's going to make 50-year-olds look like they're half their age. I don't know how that works overall. That's a whole other. I don't know if you're 25, do you look like 20? That's like only a 20% drop. Feels like you're not getting your money's worth. But once you start taking it, you have to keep using it. And you have to keep paying them, and they'll start charging whatever they want. Like it's pure money. There's no other level.
You have money for that. That explains kind of the lead male villain.
He doesn't know.
Less it explains
He
Sharon
does not.
Stone.
Yeah,
He
they
does not
mix
know
in
that.
this whole female entitlement thing in there as well.
Empowerment?
Empowerment, not entitlement. I'm sorry, that was a very bad faux pas.
He does not know that. There's no indication he knows any of that. He doesn't know it's addictive. He doesn't know you have to keep using it. He doesn't know that the scientist has found this other thing. He's set up to look like the villain because he's what the villain looks like. You know, he's an a-hole. Yeah. And he's the same dude that plays the Merovingian in the second Matrix movie. Like he's a bad guy. You look at him and go, this is like a skeezy bad guy who will definitely and you know that's what he does in as the Merovingian is he's also passed over this incredibly beautiful woman for a younger model. Talk about typecasting. But he does not know any of those things. You're set up because he's a bad boss, because he's rude to people, because he is messing around on his wife, that he's the villain, and he's not actually the villain. He's just a piece of shit.
So Sharon Stone just wants to have him killed and kill him because she is jealous over what's happened with being let go from the whatever, being let go from being the face of the company. And so she wants him dead, but she still wants everybody to get it, to use this thing not out of spite, but out of money, you're saying.
It's purely money, and I don't think it's really even just the affair or anything. Like they seem to be, like, from that board meeting we see, they seem to be co-presidents. Like, she doesn't answer to him. She has an equal voice at the meeting, and she's in charge of the R&D wing, because he has nothing to do with any of that side of the story.
Okay, I get that. Then explain to me then how the cream works. Of it either gives you superpowers or makes you ugly or kills you?
Because the side effects happen if you stop using it. They don't happen if you continue to use it, and that's exactly what she says. This is what happens.
Yes, but that is Alex Borstein's character is using it, collapses, and goes to the hospital because she's using it. Halle Berry makes her throw it out and says, "Stop using this. This is what's making you sick." That all contradicts. That all goes head to head against each other.
No, she's not using enough of it. She's going in withdrawals, which is the reason she collapsed.
Yeah, because
she's not using enough of it. She's using it.
Her jar's almost empty.
She collapsed. Her jar's almost empty, so she's been using it.
Well, I mean, fair enough that we're not given the entire picture of what the side effects are, but my reading is it's not safe. It's doing something further than affecting your skin. And
to me,
there are side effects right away.
If I have the choice, I might become ugly. It's 50-50. I become ugly or get superpowers. I ain't that handsome to begin with. I'm going for the superpowers.
But yeah, Sharon Stone, because we also see a scene where Sharon Stone's putting that cream on the rest of her body. because everyone else only uses it as face cream. She's putting it on the rest of her body, which I guess is supposed to establish that like that's why. Because I had this moment of like at the end of like, but if it's like the cream made her skin like stone, like marble, she says, because the line stone would have been too hilarious. Then like it should just be that she could take a punch. But
Her fighting
we do
skills are
actually
also
see
very
it.
impressive for some
But
reason.
there is another scene where she's using it on her like neck and upper body, and I think she puts it on her legs at one point, but maybe not. She puts it on her neck down to like at least down to the collar line. Um, but yeah, like but she's continued to use it, and maybe like I don't know, like I think I'd have to write in too much to make the whole thing perfect for
I
you.
mean, this would have been terrible. Did anyone else think when she got pushed out the window that she was going to shatter like porcelain?
It would have been hilarious.
I didn't think so. I did think she was going to leave, like, theoretically being as hard as marble, she was going to leave a dent in the floor or something.
I mean, that's just sort of the problem with the movie. That they give you all this information at the same time and really don't let you understand it all. And I mean, we're talking, there's the scene where they're explaining most of this. They're also like hinting that our main villain male is dating an underage girl.
Yes.
I mean, it's just a
Well,
lot
he's
of
dating multiple girls,
information,
it seems.
and
Well,
you don't know which way to what to concentrate on.
sorry, to be clear, the indication of that is that she's not old enough to drink, but in the US that's 21 in most states.
Right.
So she's of age to date him probably. Say probably. But
That's right. You
yeah,
can't drink, but
you
you
can't
can make porn.
yeah, you can go into the army, but you can't drink yet. You can make porn. Yeah, absolutely. You
My
can start
understanding of
stripping, but you
the
can't
model
surf.
world is 16 is appropriate. So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's unfortunately especially like this like further back in time that's very true, unfortunately.
It's either way. It's a movie that I actually modestly enjoyed. So I think that yeah, I think we've probably dissected this too much already.
um I just want to note that they really cribbed from Arnold Schwarzenegger's Mr. Freeze with the one-liners.
Oh yeah.
Right at the end, Sharon Stone says it's time's up, and Catwoman says it's overtime. I I might have peed myself a little bit. That was
What did she say? I'm sorry.
it's overtime. But there were just
Uh,
tons of those one-liners.
there was tons of those one-liners. It's yeah. You
So
know, it's
I guess
I've seen. Let's put it this way: I'd watch this again over Ant-Man and Wasp and Quantum Mania or whatever the hell that was, of the Eternals. So
and I think that might be part of it for me is just like you're right that the like I mean you said like they knew what worked and what people wanted to see and what did box office. But Marvel and Disney learned that so well that we just see the same kind of movie over and over. Like
yeah,
it's now
exactly.
it's rare for anyone to give you a movie that's slightly different, and unfortunately, the audience doesn't want it. The audience doesn't want a movie that's more of a noir or more of a I. You can go comedy, like I mean, but I mean, Suicide Squad isn't that much different than Guardians of the Galaxy. It's just a little like it's
It's
just
not like Suicide Squad did box office either. I mean, obviously during the COVID and everything like that, still,
yeah.
but it's not like it did big box office in any way, shape, or form. So
But yeah, like they don't really. I Yeah, I mean the genre that is superhero movies, and I feel it's a separate genre now. Um, like it hasn't had that deconstruction thing that Scream was to horror, for example. It
yeah,
has gotten as stale as horror was in the late '80s and early '90s, but it hasn't had that like let's look at this a different way, let's deconstruct this kind of. It hasn't had that turn yet, and that's why it's all starting to feel like the same thing. Um, And that's
Yeah,
watching this
something
now.
to that.
Watching this now in the context of like at least they were doing something different. Like they like I'm not saying it's a great movie. I still only gave it like a 7, and that was a generous 7 on IMDb. IMDb, where it is listed in the bottom 100 as number 46.
It is, I believe,
Which
a
I think is unfair.
3.4 out of 10. A
Yeah,
3.4 out of 10, and
3.4. Yeah,
8% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes.
yeah.
8%. That's a little harsh.
Yeah, I think that's like, and I think that's the big thing about looking at this again is that's harsh. Like it's out of step with what the movie actually is. Like that feels like you're mad at it. Like it's a ridiculous. Like to me, it's ridiculous. And also the movie's 20 years old. Like take another look at it.
Yeah, but we can say this. Sharon Stone is an awful actress. I mean, she's just terrible in everything. She's just a terrible, horrible.
Well, hearing stories
Anyway.
hearing behind the scenes stories, I think she's just herself in all of her movies. Like you think that she's she's really convincing in Basic Instinct or Sliver or Cat or whatever, and then it's like, well, no, what if she's just that? Like, because this is the same role, same performance she gave in those other movies. Like maybe she's not acting at all.
No, she had a different haircut.
Yeah,
Oh, the haircut.
Well, she tried to act in Casino and failed miserably, so that didn't work.
That's true. I also laughed at when Halle Berry cuts her own hair because I had seen that show up in a list of tropes recently of like, the woman's going through a life change because she cuts her own hair and it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, has anyone
So
actually
true.
ever cut their
I'll
own
never
hair?
forget the movie Not Another Teen Movie, where they have a girl, she's ugly because she wears glasses, and they take her glasses off and suddenly she's the most beautiful woman. They're like, now she's gorgeous. And that was all they did. It's just hilarious.
Oh, I love it. All right. Last things for Catwoman. We talked this cat into the ground.
Yeah. Yeah, but give it another shot if you or watch it if you haven't seen it, and you'll see that you've seen worse lately and you've seen better as well.
It has like 3 different music dance scenes. Halle Berry is unbelievably hot in it. And it's got some silly stuff. And also it's like 100 minutes shorter than most superhero movies that are coming out now.
Yes, it's an hour and 45 minutes, which is beautiful.
It's not just shy 3 hours like most of them are, like a lot of them seem to be now.
Yeah.
You can watch Halle Berry in that outfit twice in the time it takes you to watch most superhero movies now. All right, well,
I'd say watch it the first 10 minutes and then reassess. If you enjoyed that first 10 minutes, it's not getting better.
I say
it's just.
I say you
don't see the outfit in the first 10 minutes, Nick. You don't see her in the outfit in the first 10 minutes.
Also true. Maybe watch like in minutes 50 to 60 and then decide.
Yes. Then decide. That's exactly how you do it.
I think I enjoyed it even more this time, and I think it's because the negatives and the silly parts of the storyline and the contradictions and the gaps, they go away after you watch it. Like the first time you watch it, you're like, well, this happened, and what does this mean, and what's he doing that, and then the next time you watch, like they've already had those thoughts. You've already analyzed that part in your head, and then you're just watching the other stuff. And as I said, I don't think this is any sillier than the Roger Moore James Bonds. I don't think this is any sillier than Live and Let Die or
Live and Let Die is the one I go to.
Yeah, and especially Moonraker. Like even the like addictive makeup thing isn't as goofy as some of the James Bond stories at that time.
Hey, nothing's as goofy as the laser and the thing made of ice, and the whole world being made of ice at the top of the North Pole with Pierce Brosnan's last one. Nothing spookier than that.
The invisible car.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Wait, wasn't Halle Berry in that one?
Yeah, I think she is. I believe so.
All right. Well, this is a lot of fun, and we'll be back at it with our next episode, Jesse's Super Normal Regular Average Day, which I believe is still available on Tubi, Tubi TV, our favorite streaming app, because it has stuff like Jesse's Super Normal Regular Average Day. And
it's got a lot to live up to make as good an episode and as much discussion as this one did.
It will be a challenge after this, yeah. All right, well, we are the Cult Film Showdown. You can find us on Instagram at the Cult Film Showdown. You can support us on Patreon. You can go to our YouTube channel, like, subscribe, comment, especially comment. We love hearing what people think about the episodes, and definitely tell us what you think about Catwoman. I want all of it. I want every thought. I want the person who's still mad that they paid money for it to see it in the theater. That, like, tell me all of it. Tell me that the Catwoman's the one that you complain about because you're finally over the prequels that stopped coming out in 2003. This is the time. All right. We are also sponsored by WeTalkPodcast.com, the home of the Octagon, our search for the ultimate B movie. We Talk Podcasts has a Facebook, and they have a Twitter. And we'll see you next time for Jesse's Super Normal Regular Average Day.
We got to add Die Another Day to this list if we do more of these.
Oh, it's so out there, man. It's so out there. I could easily keep doing these without scoring and do ones that I wouldn't put in the Octagon. I could easily come up with more.
Yeah, I'm starting to think Halle Berry podcast might be an idea.
That's not a bad idea either.